Simon, maybe if we move on to staffing and these issues of a skill shortage here in Australia, how have you seen that, given that you're in the recruitment field?
I think, look, general comment, and it's not something that's just popped up in the last couple of years, but in a market like Sydney, in the space we play in, which sort of, recruiting between 100 and 400k, I mean, there's massive supply and demand issues, in terms of particular skill sets, and technology is an obvious one, to talk about today, and that's not going to change, and the global marketplace is actually getting more competitive for those sorts of specialist skill sets. So when we see something like the 457 changes announced, I understand why we need to move from that platform, but the timing of it and the lack of consultation with business around the changes made is not particularly welcome. And I think that's why we're now seeing some evidence from the government that in July they will reconsider some of the skills in particular areas. I'm actually off to a function this afternoon with some of Australia's leading NEDs to talk about a revised list, which might be something they can take to Canberra. So I think you'll see some changes.
But what do you say in the meantime, just to startups that are looking for talent? These are the rules. What kind of advice would you give them?
I think you need specialist immigration advice. Like there are some very specialist firms out there that can provide the right advice, and even under the changes, it's not necessarily a showstopper in terms of bringing in the right people. But like any change to legislation, there is an adjustment phase, and it's probably, we think a 12 to 18 month window before everyone really understands the full extent of it. But it's not easy, like if you're looking for particular skill sets, if you can't find them here in Sydney at the moment. In some areas, it's going to cause some short-term issues. Domain expertise powers, this is just my theory, powers entrepreneurial drive, and so if you don't obtain the domain expertise somewhere, sometimes it's very difficult to get the customer insight that allows you to innovate, and if you can innovate, then you can cause some disruption in your particular marketplace. So I still think corporates are a very good place to accumulate a certain level of domain expertise and a perspective, and then you're often sitting opposite a corporate when you're pitching your new business as an entrepreneur. So having an understanding of that environment is not a bad thing, but I've seen lots of people that have sidestepped that career path and are doing really well. So I think it probably comes back to the individual and really looking at that person first.